My name is Ely Reyes. I'm an Assistant Chief of Police with the Austin Police Department, and I've been there 21 years. So when it comes to body-worn cameras, it gives law enforcement professionals another tool to use to be able to collect evidence or gather information from calls of service that they're dispatched to. Historically, a lot of agencies have used in-car cameras, and the only issue with the in-car cameras is it only captures what's directly in front of the vehicle. And so when the officer goes off camera or is interacting with someone, it's not always right in front of the vehicle, so you miss a lot of those interactions that occur off camera. Although in some cases you will still have audio as long as the officer is within range of the vehicle. So what a body-worn camera is going to do, it's going to offer you that ability to take that video footage with the officer and get the video from the perspective of the officer throughout the entire scene and not just capture what's in front of the car. There's been a lot of positive feedback from people in the law enforcement community because for agencies that have in-car systems, adding the body-worn camera just adds to the video and the ability to add that extra layer that officers didn't have before, because there's a lot of times where you would capture something or the officer went off camera or they got out of earshot of where the audio didn't work and you no longer had any audio or any video. And having the body-worn cameras now, the officers feel confident that from beginning to end that their entire encounter with whoever they're dealing with is going to be captured on video. At the beginning of the body-worn camera era, there was a lot of concerns about privacy issues with not only the officers but also the citizens that are being recorded. And it's important for departments to have good policies on ensuring that those privacy issues and those concerns are addressed in the policy. Policies that state when the officer's camera will be on, when they can turn the camera off, when they will record, when they will not record. And so I think those policies are going to dictate a lot and they'll alleviate a lot of those privacy concerns. There are some laws that are in place to help protect those privacies. Here in Texas, there is a law that states that if a recording occurs in a private space, that recording cannot be released without the written consent of the individual on the recording. So that alleviates some of the privacy concerns. There's also some other laws in place that you have to be able to identify somebody on the video. And not only does that help with the privacy concerns, but it also helps the police department and law enforcement agencies not being inundated with open records requests and public records requests when they don't have the manpower or the ability to produce those records, because it is labor intensive in some cases. So some of the privacy concerns are alleviated through policy, and then others are alleviated through legislation. But you're never going to be able to address all of the privacy concerns. So it's important to have good policies and then have good laws as well. So a private space where body-worn cameras should not be used, officers, first of all, should only be using the camera if it's for a law enforcement purpose. Officers should just not have the camera on randomly, just recording stuff for no reason. We need to make sure there's a law enforcement purpose to activate the camera. A lot of places, they'll record in certain spaces if they have a law enforcement purpose. For example, if they go into a hospital setting, the officer should not be recording there unless they're recording for a law enforcement purpose. Other places would be a bathroom or a locker room or any place where somebody has an expectation of privacy. The officer should not be recording unless they're there for a law enforcement purpose. There are instances where we do get called for service that involve some private spaces such as hospitals or restrooms or locker rooms, and in those cases the expectation would be that the officer is recording. The prices have gone down significantly. The cost of the camera itself is not very expensive. It's the ongoing cost of the storage of the video to make sure that you're in compliance with the laws that is the big price ticket. And so as storage costs have gone down, as a lot of agencies move to the cloud, it makes the cameras and the storage and the ongoing cost more affordable. And the thing we have to talk about when we talk about body cameras is, video and releasing video and having video of law enforcement interactions is going to help to promote trust in the community, and you can't put a price tag on trust. When you talk about trust in the community, if a law enforcement agency is going to tell their community that their police officers have body cameras, it's important that they have good policies and good practices in place to make sure that those cameras are turned on. Body-worn cameras can help build a lot of trust in the community, but if an incident occurs and an officer has a camera and the camera's not on, it could also do a lot to hamper that trust as well. One of the good features with a lot of the body-worn camera systems now is having a door activation. When the officers open the door, the camera automatically comes on. So a body camera doesn't do anybody any good if it's not on. So by having a door activation trigger tied to the body camera, it makes sure that when the officer exits that car, that their body camera is on and they're recording. So the state law retention standard says that all body-worn camera video has to be maintained for a minimum of 90 days. But agencies can elect to keep the video longer if they choose to do so. So a video that didn't have any type of criminal activity on it, at a minimum, would have to be kept 90 days, but some agencies elect to keep those longer for up to 180 days because of civil service retention rules when it comes to filing complaints on officers. And most of the videos will be kept corresponding to whatever type of incident is captured on the video. So if it's a traffic stop, it's a Class C misdemeanor, it'll be kept for the retention period for that. If it's a felony, then it'll be kept for the retention period for a felony. Some videos by law will be kept indefinitely. Well, you know, there's certain security requirements that have to be met if you're going to be using a cloud-based service. And so the standard is for the criminal justice information systems, it must be a CJIS compliant cloud service provider. And so that ensures that it meets the minimum security standards that are required for that.